And everybody else who's watching us online because you're doing yard chores or other things with your time. It's really wonderful to have you here this morning. My name is Reverend Dr. Claudia Hall. It is absolutely my privilege to serve here as the minister. And my pronouns are she or they, and we welcome you to this home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope. We are Unitarian Universalists. An important ritual in our faith is the lighting of our chalice. We have many different interpretations of what this means, and for us, many times it includes things like the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. I invite you to join me in celebrating these reasons and more, and if you're watching online, please feel free to have a chalice or candle and light it now as we say together our unison words projected on the screen. We hallow this time together by kindling the lamp of our heritage. I invite you to join with me now in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Blessed rhythm of life, we've gathered here today to celebrate the pause just before the season's turn. May we be granted patience to wait for the season to change. May we have wisdom to know what to gather in and what to leave behind. And may we find comfort in the fact that change is a normal and natural part of our existence. Amen and blessed be. I invite you to remain seated and join us in our hymn. It's in the gray hymnal, number 1, literally 001, or it's projected on the wall. May nothing evil cross this door. It is a tradition here in our church to place each service within the larger set of sources and principles that we hold dear. While we are a religion that has no requirement of creed or belief, we do have things that we support overall. And today our service is coming from our second and our sixth principles. Our second principle is the ideal of justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. And our seventh is respect for the interdependent web of which we are all a part. At first glance, it sometimes seems that these two principles don't have a lot in common, but the truth is we are all connected, and so when I have compassion for you, it also benefits me. This is a knowledge that is deeply rooted in most religious traditions, and the ideal of cultivating a loving and compassionate heart for others is a core part of the religious life. However, as Unitarian Universalists, we're going a step further and saying that compassion is only one step in the religious life. We must also take it further and have justice and equity as well. As we search for these ideals in our own hearts and lives, we also need to extend this to ourselves as well. For there are times when the creation of beloved community is uncomfortable and unsettling. Certainly, as we quickly approach our move into this new space, I want to offer a reminder that we're moving to be more equitable. We're moving so there is justice, so that all bodies can be welcome in the space, so that all persons, no matter their abilities or disabilities, can be together in fellowship. But at the same time, we have to hold compassion for ourselves and each other as we process the incredible amount of emotions that are rising with this change. It is in this spirit of change and moving that I invite our children to stay seated at this time. We have a video reading of the book, Home is a Window by Stephanie Parsley Ledyard. And we are not singing them out for RE today because they're staying.
Home is a Window by Stephanie Parsley Ledyard. Home is a window, a doorway, a rug, a basket for your shoes. Home is hello, sweet pea, and a hug. A little bit of green, a corner, and a chair. Home is a table with something good, and the people gathered there. Home is washing, rinsing, and drying. And whenever a dish gets broken, someone to help you sweep. Home is one more hide and seek before bath, bubbles if you're lucky, and a blanket all your own, mostly. Home is Miss Vera's lamplight shared with you, a book before you fall asleep, and a kiss afterward. Home is what feels the same each day, and sometimes what is new. Home is a pillow, the long quiet at the start of a journey, and an arm around you tight. Home is the shirt that smells like your old room, stories you had never heard, and every song you know sung out loud again. Home is all that you miss, and not knowing for sure how things will be. And then, here we are. A doorway, hello. A window, sunlight, a corner for your toys. A patched up quilt, something good, and the people gathered near. Home.
As part of our weekly worship service, we take time for an expression of our joys, concerns, and sorrows. This is one thing that we will not change. Home, for us, means a place where we can each share what is weighing down our souls and the things that fill us with joy, and where those we love and who love us surround us in both good times and in struggle. If you would like to recognize a joy, sorrow, or milestone today, we invite you to kind of do this rotation here where we go down the aisle and we come up. You're welcome to take a stone or several and place them in the water bowl that represent to you the things that you hold in your heart. There are stones in the back and at the front, and I invite you now to come forward and carry whatever you need to and let it go into the care of those who love you. Let us take a moment for meditation. Our next hymn is number 18 in the gray hymnal or projected on the wall. What wondrous love is this? Well, good morning and Happy New Year, everyone. Or as we say in Hebrew, Lashana Tova. It is the celebration of Rosh Hashanah, which means in Hebrew the head of the year. It is one of 4 Jewish New Years, because nobody does things simple 4,000 years ago. And today, one of the traditional things that you do is you wish one another a sweet and good year. So when we come to our coffee hour after service, please stay and join us. I've got the traditional apples and honey. We've got some delicious tart apples with some honey sticks in various flavors. These were actually local honey that was farmed by some folks in this very area. So you get to come and enjoy some goodness for that. And now that I've had the joy, it's time for the concern, which is the rest of this sermon, right? Today we are focused on the change of season that is happening both in the world around us and most specifically here in the life of this community. Part of my role as your minister is to say aloud the things that folks are holding in their hearts. And today I really want to focus on the strange duality of grief and anticipation that comes with moving. There is, and I want us to be very clear about this, there is so much grief that comes with moving. But for all of that, there's also some fun things that happen, although boxing up things is never fun, at least not for me. But the thing is that our feelings of home and safety, security, and love become projected onto the spaces where we experience them. Place, which for human beings is a combination of so many sensual things, the sense, the noises, the temperature, the physicality, the feel of the seat, the things that we experience in a location are encoded into our minds in a very particular way, and it becomes associated with the feelings that we have there. I am a book lover, and as a child who had a very difficult childhood, to me, the smell and the feel of a library means I am in a place where I am safe and welcomed, and I'm instantly transported into this world that's full of potential, where I can forget about anything outside and just enjoy the transportation of the book that takes you to a new place. As a child, books were my escape from a difficult home and from a world where I just didn't fit. I didn't fit in the real world, but I fit in the world of books, be it Narnia or Green Gables, the Boxcar Children, or later as a teen when I found the welcoming queer world of Valdemar and Mercedes Lackey. Magical beings saw the truth of your soul, and you could bond with animals and be one with nature. Today, I still enjoy curling up with my animals in a good book, especially on a chilly day when I can burrow under some blankets on my screen porch and sip hot coffee and disappear into a world much friendlier than our own. For me, the sight and sound and smell of a bookstore or a library are home in a way that I never really had as a child. And to this day, anywhere I go in the world, it's amazing. We were in Iceland a few years ago. We were incredibly privileged to get to go to Iceland. And we walked into a store, and of course, it's a small town, because Iceland, basically, they have one city, Reykjavik. And the whole rest of the country is these little tiny villages of like 500 people. So we were in this little tiny village, and very few of the people there spoke English. And I, of course, speak no Icelandic. But we were able to communicate and to kind of just share a moment with one another over the experience that is finding a book. For most of us, if not all of us, this church building serves that same purpose. It is safety, security, and an anchor in a very chaotic world. This building holds years and decades even of memories that are triggered for folks by just walking in the door. The way these pocket doors stick, the way the bathroom door squeaks, evokes memories of conversations with loved ones. They serve as tangible reminders of the times that we walked through the doors with those now gone. The smell of the sanctuary reminds us of the celebrations we have had here, the light from these windows transporting us to the time and place where something truly glorious and transcendent occurred in our lives. Sitting in our seats, in our pews, you can see the heads in front of you, and they're the same ones week after week, year after year. We recall the way that our beloveds always sang that one hymn off tempo, hit that one note just so. We recall seeing our children come forward and being read to and enjoying the questions they offer that tend to fluster the minister. Every dripping tap reminds us of someone we love and how they bent down to fix it, still in their Sunday best as they tried to put it right. here in this building that is loved so much. Many of you recall the rooms downstairs being full of life and laughter. Many of you can remember the potlucks and women's meetings, the memorials and men's lunches, the friendships shared, the weddings attended, the funerals that filled us with tears. Home is people, this is true, but it is also a building. It's the way that the sofa out there has a spring that's a little off, so you have to know the trick of sitting in it just so, or you're going to get a rude surprise. It's the way that these microphones work okay near this one speaker, but do not go over there with it, or the feedback will be terrible. Home is the people that we walk with as we come into church. The way that the sidewalk steps were so huge as a child and grew smaller somehow every year as we became adults. And then as we age, they grow bigger again somehow, and once again are full of hidden dangers. Home is decades of sitting in the same seat in the pew until the cushion has so molded to your body that nobody else would ever think of sitting there. My very first parish, when I was a young minister that knew nothing, I went there the first Sunday, and the organist handed me a piece of paper, and I said, "What is this?" And she said, "It's a seating chart, so you can learn all of our names." Because, of course, in these small country churches, much like our church right here, people have their spots. And you better not sit in their pew, and you better not try to take their pew somewhere else. Home is the poems and the grocery list that maybe you're composing in your head right now as this minister is droning on about something that you're not listening to. It is the tree in the corner that went from Christmas to year-round. It is the chipped coffee mug that someone always wants to throw away but never quite remembers to. Moving takes all of these things, the way our home is sight and sound, touch and taste and smell, and it reduces them to a packing list on the side of boxes. Moving, the actual process of physically picking what to throw away, is not just physically tiring, it is also soul-wrenching. Dare we give away the last remaining thing that proves this loved one existed? Can we remember them if this object is gone? My father died almost 30 years ago, and it has struck me the other day that I can no longer remember his voice. He died before the age of voicemail and voice calls, and so all I have of him are 2 battered photographs and an old work jacket. I cannot hear his voice anymore, and my grief is inexpressible. I know grief. Its twists and turns and the surprising ways that it pounces on you when you're not looking. And I'm feeling the weight of the grief that this community is sharing. We know this is the right thing to do, but that doesn't make it easy. This grief that we share is heavy and thick and is pulling at some of your souls like a riptide, taking you away from the safety of shallow water to a place where the water is over our head. Our feet have been knocked down from under us, and we don't even know which way is up. For all of you here today, be you online or in the pews, who are grieving this move, I see you, I hear you, and I am here for you. This grief will come in waves, in unexpected times and places. It will happen now and years after we've settled into a new location of our own. Because the thing about grief is once it moves in, it never really leaves. It goes away on longer and longer vacations, but it always comes back home when you least expect it. Part of life is grief, for loss is as integral to life as our breath. The autumn equinox is this week, the time of the year when light and dark are in balance for one brief moment before the wheel turns again into the darker and more introspective time of the year. Grief can be, should be, acknowledged and understood, for the depth of our grief shows the depth of our love. This home that we have had for so many years, longer than anyone's lifetime who is still here, it's hard. It's hard to leave it. To leave it demands we grieve, and this is a loss. Make no mistake. All change is loss. It's the loss of what was, the loss of the routines and the rhythms that gave our days structure and purpose. What time do I need to leave my home so that I can actually make it just on time? It's going to change. Which road do I need to take? Which lights do I need to avoid? What are the places that I need to go? Can I stop at the grocery store on my way in? All of the things that give us the pattern of our days is in upheaval as we move. We're losing the easy access to memories of the loved ones that we had here who are no longer with us. We're losing the sense of being the castle on the hill, that foundational myth that gave a sense of meaning and purpose to many in this congregation. These are all losses and griefs that we bear, and yet, even at a funeral, there can be laughter. Joy in recalling the memories that we made with our beloveds, joy that they are no longer suffering, joy that they were on this earth and made an impact in our lives. Tears can be for sorrow, for joy, and for both at the same time. Our moving is a time of loss, and I want to invite all of you who are feeling that grief to take time, privately or with others you love, and go through the place. You know, we're going to have an official closing service with ritualized ways of dealing with this, but our spontaneous rituals are important too. As we say our goodbyes to this home that has given us so much for so long, I hold your grief, and I also want to invite in a spirit of anticipation. Because yes, the wheel is turning to a darker time. There is loss, there is grief. But we all know, and the rhythms of the earth tell us this, that after winter, there is spring. So even as we're grieving the loss of the bright summer days, we can be assured that they will come again. We anticipate the return of the sun, the reawakening of the earth, the blooming flowers that often poke right up through the snow, as a reminder that no season, no loss, no change is forever. Change is real, but so too is the potential for growth and new life and new joy and new memories and new friends and new loved ones. Give your grief its due. It cannot be rushed or ignored without psychological and spiritual harm. But even as you hold your grief in one hand, you can hold anticipation in the other, because change is not only loss, it is also the emergence of something new, something that did not exist and that can only be brought into being through the crucible of change. We can still remember our beloved ones in new places. We can still have our friends and family in our hearts, and now, in a more accessible location, many of them will be in the seats beside us. We can continue to find new friends and new family, new people that need a place to call home. Today there are visitors. I invite you to reach out and say hi and get to know the new faces that we're bringing in every week, because people need us and we need them. This life-giving, life-affirming, life-loving religion that we practice, that all are welcome and brought in and embraced. A religion that says we want to create a beloved community where your background, your social status, the amount of money you have, your gender, who you love, that those are not the things that matter, that what matters is that you care and you want to make the world a better place. The wheel will turn and turn and turn again, and from the tumble of change and chaos, new patterns will emerge. I don't know if any of you as a child got the chance to play with a kaleidoscope. I remember holding those up and for hours just changing it. Every turn, the little beads inside would rearrange into a new pattern, into a new way. And sometimes it looked all chaotic and crazy, but if you just kept turning it, you would see all of a sudden this beautiful rainbow effect. That is the promise of change. That yes, it tumbles, and yes, sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it will emerge new. That new patterns will emerge, new lives will be touched. The promise of autumn is yes, light and darkness shift and fade in our lives. Sometimes one is up, sometimes the other is. But no matter how that change happens, the rhythm and the promise is this, that the light of hope will come again, that the grief and the loss also leads us to the new discoveries and the new joys. The change is both a loss and the emergence of something new. Amen and blessed be. Our final hymn this morning is number 128, For All That Is Our Life. As Robin passes around our offering basket this morning, I offer a reminder that our community of faith is supported by your giving. For those who are visitors with us today, we invite you not to give because we want our service to be a gift to you. Our stewardship is also about time and talent donated to help our church, and we have lots of opportunities to do that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. You know where to find us. Robin is always willing to help, as is Nancy or Alex or any of the board members. Feel free to just let people know what you can do, and we will find a way to help you help us. Give what you can and what you are able, for you are a generous people. Will you join with me in our offering prayer? May this offering equip us to inspire love and seek justice. All right, announcements. I have a few. Do you have? Go ahead. All right, so I'll go through and you can tell me what I've missed. How about that? All right, so we have lots of things. First of all, if you don't know we're moving. And we have a chair sample out there. It's a beautiful burgundy red chair. Please sit in it and let us know what you think. Does it fit your body? Does it not fit your body? Do you need it to be different? We really want to make sure, since our goal of equity and justice is to make this place accessible, we need our chairs to be accessible to all the bodies who come in our doors. So we really would love for you to help us with that. There's a chair, you can sit in it, and then there's a little survey that our wonderful board member, Mary, who is still recovering from COVID, she made that survey for us. She's super organized. We adore her. Also involved in the moving is the naming. You want to talk about the naming stuff? Is that on your list? Okay, then I'll keep going. So we're having a naming contest. We want you to submit your names, things that you think would attract people, that you would think would kind of tell people who we are and what's about it, and that will still fit on, a check. Those are the important things. We don't want to have a name that's 10 miles long. Also, we have 2 opportunities coming up. Today, immediately after church, we're going to have coffee time, and then we're going to start walking around the building and saying, keep toss, keep toss, keep toss. So if there's something you're interested in, help us out with that. Also, we have on the 7th of October, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., there's going to be a group here in the church, and Nancy needs help with folks, just to kind of have somebody sitting there to take names and people coming in and out of the building. Nancy is the person in charge of that, so if you're able to help out on 10/7, please let her know. What else am I missing? Yes. So if you have not received the invitation, one of our own wonderful members, Dee Evans, is being ordained into the Unitarian Universalist ministry, and that is going to be held at the Abraham Lincoln Congregation. So we've got lots of information on that. And then also, if you're new to Unitarian Universalism, we're doing a thing called Starting Point, which is 4 Monday nights in October and November, where we're just going to kind of talk about who are we, where did we come from, what are we doing, what's good about us, what's not. And maybe even if you've been here for a long time and you just want a chance to deepen what you're doing, I'm one of the facilitators. This is our very first. We're super excited about this. All 4 of the metro area churches are coming together to do a lot of stuff this year, and that is one of the things we are doing. So that's what I have.
Awesome. So on the point about the naming, if you have any ideas, you want to email them to me directly, you're welcome to do that. If not, I welcome you to write them down and then hand them to me today. And then I'm going to put together the list. We're going to share it with the board. The board's going to sort of narrow that list down a little bit, and then we'll send it out to vote on Wednesday digitally for those of you that are on emails, and if not, Sunday when we have in-gathering, which is another one of my announcements. Next Sunday, we'll actually choose the name of what we're going to be. We're still working on what the legal thing will look like. I have a meeting with an accountant on Monday, and we'll figure out how we're going to do that, but that's behind the scenes. That won't matter as much to you all. It's just more the technical legal things that we have to do. Was that you? Okay. Oh yeah, I don't know what that was, so it's okay. So today, as Reverend Claudia said, we're going to try to do cleanup. Mostly our focus right now is going to be in the basement. I know it's a little spooky down there, but in the basement. Thank you. The light flickered. Thank you, Rev. I hear that. We'll be in the space below us down here, below the worker room, clearing all that stuff out. Most of that stuff is probably not going to go with us, so we have to put it in one room. Things that are coming with us will go in one space. Things that we're getting rid of one way or the other are going to go in a different space. So if you have even an hour to spare to help, it would be really wonderful to be able to do that. On the note about in-gathering, sorry, I got my checklist of all the things I've done so far. On in-gathering, next Sunday, weather permitting, we will be picnicking outside. I've got hot dogs and burgers and veggie options, which I will be preparing. And then we're asking everybody just to bring a side dish. Then we'll set the tables up outside and hang out and just connect and enjoy as best we can to get ready for our new church year, and as well as sort of start to wrap up our presence here in this building. Our last service, as Claudia referred to, I think in the sermon, on 10/29 will be our last service in this building. We plan it to, it hasn't been planned yet, but we want it to be a time to honor this space, to honor our past, to bring some closure to all of that. So the hope is that we're going to have, we want you to invite past members, people you haven't seen for a while, have them come, have them be a part of the experience. And I know we haven't talked about this as a board, but I'd like to do something like a little party afterwards, even if it's just sandwiches, something that we can do to sort of bring it all together. Last two things we have next weekend is Tower Grove Pride. And while we are hosting and sponsoring a booth, we are not primarily responsible for staffing that booth, but I know Claudia will be there for a bit. I will try to be there for a little bit to try to support all of the UU congregations. This is the whole point, is we're kind of in this together. So if you can donate even a couple of hours and you want to come to Tower Grove Pride and help us out, I will get a link posted in our UU Friends website, and also have Mary send it out on Wednesday in Realm in our Church This Week email blast. So we'll have that. Lastly, we're going to need way more people to help us with Unity Fest sign up. I'm not going to worry about the sign up actual for that right now, but we will be at Unity Fest in Edwardsville the last Saturday of the month, which I believe is the 30th, I think, something along that line. I don't know. I've lost track of days. I don't even know what my name is today. But and Unity Fest is really a wonderful outreach opportunity for us. It's putting our presence out there, letting people know we're going to be in Edwardsville. I'm waiting to sign the lease. I'm hoping this week, so we can make a formal announcement about exactly where we're going to the public. I mean, we all kind of know where we're going, but we want to make a formal announcement to the public once we have that all wrapped up. So I can't think of anything else. Anybody have any questions for me while we're talking? All right, if you do, you're welcome to chat with me once we get in there. So thank you, everybody.
I don't know about the rest of you, but my head is swimming and I'm involved in all of this. So if all of this is way too much, that is okay. Grab Robin, grab myself, grab Nancy. We will put you to work or help you find a way to connect with us at whatever level you want to connect. That's the important takeaway for this. I invite you all to join me today as we recite our chalice with our prayer words on the screen. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are keepers of this flame until we meet again. May each of us be gentle with ourselves and with others as we grieve the losses that our change of building brings. And even as we grieve, may each of us find points of anticipation and light, even in the darkening of the year and the overwhelming storms. Amen, and blessed be. Again, Happy New Year, Lashana Tova, and I invite all of you to stay and join us for some coffee and fellowship out in the hall.